Yeah.
Get them to recognize it.
Yeah. I think yeah, I think that's the main thing, because again, you don't know what people are going through. There may be a reason why they're not doing it the way that they're supposed to. What is literally going deep down? What are they hiding? What is it going on in their mind? What's going on back home? What's going on around their life? You know, those are the type of things that can affect people. So if you have that conversation or you have feedback, or just like, yo, just come with that positive intent. What's going on? How can I help you? Is there something I can do for you? That's more like, oh my gosh, this guy's showing more that cares about me and everything like that. You know, when you do something like that, that person is going to be like, oh, I want to do anything to make sure that this person is happy. More than, yo, you're not doing this, we're not happy with this, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, if you're happy...
That's why there should be leaders and not bosses, right? Because I guess if you're a leader, then you're kind of paving the way. If you're a boss, then you're only ever going to care about the numbers and not necessarily the people, but the people is what make your business.
Leader leads.
What's that?
Leader leads by example. He actually does it.
100%. But unfortunately, in the world that we live in, that's kind of like it's frowned upon, because they want bosses and want results, rather than to have leaders that not only embody, you know, a good workforce and a good team. They just kind of want the end goal, which is the numbers, which is the sad thing about it.
Yeah, but those people won't run through the wall for you.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
They won't run through the wall for you. You need those ones that are just going to be like, if you say to you, look, we're going to do this, and they'll be like, look, whatever you need. What, you want me to miss the party that I'm going to? Don't worry, I'll take off this suit and just be like, nah, come on, nah.
But you know something? Like, unfortunately, there's so many businesses out there that don't operate like that. As much as the intention is good, and like I'm all for that, unfortunately, we live in a world where people just want to be the opposite and want to just bulldoze their way to success.
But it depends on the culture that is that has been there. It depends on the culture being created. If you have a look, I may go into football now, man, and everything, but if you see Liverpool, I love Klopp. Yeah, the culture that he's created and everything. Those guys are like, when he first started, the numbers were crazy. You know, they ended up like 8th. But they still believed in him because he's already created a mindset, and they just had to get to a certain point. And now look at the results.
Yeah.
In the beginning, may not be sweet, but that's something that you can remember by. Whenever you think of, if anything goes wrong, you see where you came from, and just be like, you remember where you came from. Look, we were 8th before. Now we are European champions. We are league leaders. We are Super World Cup champions and everything, and they know where they came from. That's what makes everybody be like, first of all, that's what makes people like, I want to be part of this team, and they will do anything to be part of the team. That's number one. And then the people already there, they're already thinking, yo, there's people that want to come in. I need to make sure that I'm still part of this team, because they can get rid of me like anything. And it's not a case of, oh, you better go or I'm going to get someone else. Hey, how you doing? Hope everything's cool. I mean, that's the culture that they've created there. So that's my mindset. I know that that's what the numbers are doing now, but if you lead by example, the world will end up kind of like, oh, we've been doing it wrong. We need to follow what thing. And that's what happened in football. Before, everybody's like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. Now everybody's like, oh, we need to take the Liverpool approach. Oh, we want...
I got a question for you then, Mike. Name a company that leads by example.
Apple.
Name a company that leads by example that isn't Apple.
Dun, 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 dun. My company will lead by example. I'm thinking into the future now.
All right, cool. But would you say that you leading by example, would you say that you would have influence from Apple, or would you say that's influence from your personality? Because
you know what?
Apple have good values, and I kind of see the values that they have, and they've kind of stuck to that. But exactly. It's interesting to know if you're an employee of Apple, do you take some of those values with you as well? Because they've now shown you a little bit of light in terms of how you can be as a business owner.
Exactly. So the thing with the thing with that is that, like, it's like you creating your own illustration style. Okay, if you love manga, and you like drawing, like, or let's just say, if you love Dragon Ball Z, Lauren, I don't know if you know what Dragon Ball Z is, but you know,
I kind of do.
you know, if you love Dragon Ball Z and you start drawing Dragon Ball Z, you're never going to draw it as good as them, or even exact. Even if you do it exact, it's not going to be perfect because you have your own way of doing things. So when you start drawing that Dragon Ball Z, at some point you're going to find your own style, and then from your own style, and you get your own thing. That's how I see. Whether it's me or anyone else that works in Apple, they'll be taking a few of those things, they'll creating a few of those things, make that their foundation, and they'll build on that in their own way. That's how I see that. So
Okay.
Makes sense.
yeah.
So you add?
Say again?
Lauren, is there anything you want to add?
The only thing I'd add from a building your team's point of view is, like, you should, and you can normally spot a team member's if something's not going right at home or in their personal life, or you can spot impacts they're having on their, like, on their performance or their approach within work, because everyone has a pattern of behavior. Everyone's pretty predictable. So if you can spot those impacts or the little trends that start to shift those, you know, patterns that we have, then essentially you can pick them up quicker and work with them sooner to avoid it becoming this big thing that then ends up in the tell style management of, like, you need to fix this and you need to fix that because we didn't spot it in the first place. And I think as leaders, we should be spotting those in the first place to help them resolve it as much as we can.
Okay, let me ask a question quick.
No.
So when you're recruiting someone, how do you spot that person is the right one for you?
My biggest lesson, probably when I was 19, recruiting my first person in a retail store, and I recruited them based on their CV because that's how everybody did it.
Yeah.
And it was the worst decision I could have made. They had lots of A's and A stars and seemed, you know, great. And what I did ever since then is I never looked at a person's CV ever. And I just sat down with them over a coffee and just spoke so that I made them feel comfortable enough to talk to me the way that they would naturally, not in interview style.
I just need to do this. Sorry, I had to.
That's it. That's my thing. Like, attitude. Because you can teach somebody the hard skills, but you can't, it's really hard to teach people the attitude stuff. If they've got, like, they just can do attitude, that's massive.
Yeah. Soft skills.
Yeah.
See, when I was applying to Apple and everything, you know, I was worried that, look, I don't know. Look, I have an iPad, but I don't know much about the phones. So if they're thinking that, you know, they're going to be asking me questions about the phone, I know nada. I mean, no bits about the Apple stuff, but, you know, nada. But I just had to be myself, and that was it. Stuff. I got a job, but, you know, that's just me.
And you know what, like, the qualification thing and how much you know about a phone doesn't mean you can or can't get a job at Apple. It's your attitude and how you deal with people. And, like, so many people get hung up on that. I mean, my school, I didn't do that great because I didn't really care. Like, they predicted good grades for me, but I couldn't be bothered because I was on a different mindset. And never since, and actually there was one time where someone said to me, that basically someone was coming in, like, global person was coming in to see us, and they said, look, you don't really have much of an education, you haven't been to college, you haven't been to uni, and they are really going to judge you for that. And I was like, what? Like, it was such a crazy thing for me because I just hadn't ever thought of that as an issue. And they were like, and I was like, well, then they're gonna judge very, very wrongly. Like they shouldn't be judging from that. And I've never allowed that to hold me back because I just don't see it as an issue. I don't see it as a thing because I have something else to give. I don't need that to back me up. I've got experience and that's what matters for me.
That's because you never grew up in a Nigerian home. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's Dutch. It's Dutch.
That's still not Nigerian.
Love it. Right, last question.
All right,
Are you ready for one last one? We've been on it for a long time. Self-development, how important is this along with running your business and how do you balance the two?
Ooh, say it again.
Self-development, how important is this along with running your business and how do you balance the two?
It's very important to your survival. Just because if you don't self-develop, then you can't necessarily grow your business and obviously what you want to do. I feel like we're always trying to self-improve as we grow, as we get older, but we need to kind of just like strengthen it. The more you self-improve, the easier it becomes for you because you now have a better understanding in terms of who you are, what you want, what you like, what you don't like. And once you kind of align those things, you can kind of just run with it. I think, especially for me, it was always about trying to figure out what to do and knowing if it was the right thing to do. Now I kind of know what I need to do and also knowing what I'm comfortable with as well. But that's not something that you would necessarily figure out overnight. It is a development process. And I feel like you have to kind of break a few eggs to make your omelet, right? Cheese.
Yeah.
Wow. Boss.
Yeah.
Fucking boss, Duke. Look at that. All right. You made me lose my whole sight of thought now. Yes. Self-development is very important. You know, a lot of people stick to just trying to learn and develop themselves when it comes to school or anything like that. But to be able to keep ourselves updated with what's going on around us, especially in our field, we always have to fill this mind with something. You know, we have to fill it with the things that, you know, as a designer, I've still got to keep up to date with the latest trends, the skills that are out there. I still need to do courses to keep up to date with new skills, with new things that are happening, to be able to, maybe that will spark an idea of something that I never thought of before, you know? It's very important, and it keeps you motivated, because if you get bored of doing the same thing, you're just going to be like, oh, I can't bother to do this anymore, and then you're finding something else. But self-development helps you to improve yourself. Like, you know, we always want to upgrade with the new phones or anything like that. We need to upgrade ourselves as well. So,
ooh, I like that.
Come on.
Oh, this is good.
Some good lyrics. Yeah.